You know, it's like they say, when stands wrong, been lying and making excuses.
Greetings, ladies and gentlemen.
All I talk is politics, like a politician. I got 20s on 20s, can you see my vision?
Sheesh.
With precision, I move forward. Can't be trapped by love, cause to me, that's
All
a
right.
prison. I know you say you love me, but we both know our future is already
Greetings,
written.
ladies and gentlemen.
Build up the brand. Can't stop until I'm finished. I hope you understand.
Here we go.
Hey. I can't be here all the time. I know
Let's go, ladies and gentlemen.
I'm just out here making money.
Can you hear me, ladies and gentlemen? Can you hear me?
Can
you hear me?
Here we go. I can beat it all the time. I know you.
Can you hear me? Yes. All right. Good. Good. I don't know what's going on.
Now you wanna throw a fit and drive me crazy. We supposed to be together, but you.
All right. Let's go, ladies and gentlemen. You know what we gotta do to get this show started. Oh yeah.
When it's all said and done, we won't be.
All right. You can hear me, right? I think you can hear me out there.
Time to take the gloves off. 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 Time to take the gloves off.
Good morning.
Time to take the gloves off. Time to take the gloves off. It's time to step up. We playing too soft. I'm in the ring.
Take the gloves off, ladies and gentlemen. Let's get ready to get started.
I'm up all the way to the top. The gloves is off. No holding back. I'm on the attack. I'm blowing these racks. I'm all in my zone. I'm all in my groove. Keep me some checks like the ones on my shoe. I am the champ. I am the god. I am the one that you cannot ignore. The gloves is off. Let's settle the score. No mercy, I'm here. You know that it's on. Give me the crown. I'm taking the throne. They call me a rebel. They call me a goon. Stacking this paper. Stacking this paper. Stacking this paper all the way to the moon.
Hey.
I put in the work. Sweating the tears.
Good morning.
Facing my fears. All of these years. Forced to be reckoned with victory's mine. Facing my demons. It's my time to shine. Step in the ring is like rolling the dice. The gloves is off. I cannot be nice. All in the spotlight. Bask in the glory. Victory's mine. End of the story. Time to take the gloves off.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Once again back. Good morning, Tiffany.
Time to take the gloves off. Time to take the gloves off. Time to take the gloves off.
Time to take the gloves off. Cut it out, Chuck. Good morning, Ed.
I cannot be stopped. I'm bringing the truth. You wanted the source? Well, I'm the plug. I'm laying it down like it was a rug. They call me a beast. They call me a villain. Making a play. Willing and dealing. Spitting this fire. Watch me explode. I'm in the trap. I got to go. I'm on the scene. They say I'm obscene. Stuck in this paper. Chasing my dream. No time to be fake. When you heavyweight, I'm shaking the ground. I'm making it quake. Dog off the leash. I cannot be tamed.
Good morning, ladies.
This is my life, this ain't no game.
Hey, ladies and gentlemen.
We're going to get whacked. We hit him with this and we hit him with that. The gloves is off, we call it a wrap.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen.
Time to take the gloves off. Time to take the gloves off. Time to take the gloves off. Time to take the gloves off.
All right, DJ, go ahead and kill the music. Go ahead and kill the music. All right. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome. Good morning, Zena. Nice to see you. All right. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Once again, we are back in the Thunderdome. I am your host. I am your pilot. And you know exactly what we are here to do. I got my hammer, all right? You know, just in case, because you know there's some MAGA demons out there that we're going to have to send straight to the pits of hell. All right, but before we get started doing that, let's take care of some housekeeping items. For those of you who do not know who I am, I go by the name Zeus, or as some like to say, Triple H. And why do they call me Triple H, ladies and gentlemen? Well, it's quite simple. The first H stands for honesty, right? I am the most honest person on social media. There's nobody more honest than me. Thank you, Little Hawk, brother. I appreciate that. There's nobody more honest than me, all right? I promise to tell you nothing but the truth. So help me God, all right? The second H, ladies and gentlemen, is because I am humble. There's nobody more humble than me. Listen, if I get it wrong, I will be the first to apologize. It just turns out I haven't been wrong lately, all right? And just because your feelings are hurt, it does not mean I owe you an apology. Most likely, it means you need to actually look in the mirror and take some accountability. That's what it really means, right? And the last and final H, ladies and gentlemen, is because I am and will always remain what? The most handsome! All right, now many of you are familiar with what we do over here on this side of town, on this side of TikTok. What we do is very special, right? We hold our friends on the right, especially their leader, their cult leader, Donald J. Trump, accountable for their dirty, disgusting, filthy deeds as well as their crimes, right? And believe you me, when it comes to dirty, disgusting, filthy deeds as well as crimes, we know our friends on the right, they have a monopoly on it, right? And so with that being said, listen up. If you're a Trump supporter out there, all right, the gloves are off. All right, I don't know if you caught that in that song I was playing, right? Which is a great song, right? But the gloves are officially off, MAGA, and you took them off. All right, and the jar is open, and you open that jar. So listen up. If you are, as my good friend brother Swervin likes to say, you're lactose intolerant. Thank you, Zena. You're lactose intolerant. That means you have an allergic reaction to the facts, right? And I'll give you, they go, well, what does it look like? I'll give you a good example, right? There's a guy out here on social media. What is his name? Struggle Bubbles, Struggle Buns. He's a struggler.
Struggle Bubbles.
Yeah.
Struggle Pancakes.
Yeah. Remember
Struggle Honey Buns.
Yeah.
Struggle in the waist. Yeah. He's a struggler.
The way he hits that note, right? The way that guy hits that note. That guy is lactose intolerant. What happens is you go into his lives, right? And all you do is you show him the indictments, right? It doesn't matter which one. There's 4 of them you can pick and choose from. And as soon as you start showing him those indictments, his face gets all scrunched up because the MAGA demon is inside of him, right? Because the facts, he's allergic to the facts. He starts pouting and he starts crying and he starts kicking you out of his box. That's what someone who's lactose intolerant looks like, all right? And all of you Trump supporters are lactose intolerant based on my research. And I've done this for quite a while, right? A lot of my friends know this. All you Trump supporters are lactose intolerant. So listen up. If you don't want to experience that, you might want to leave this live, all right? Go on about your miserable mornings, all right? Go hang out with Snuggles or any of those fake TikTok hosts, those fake TikTok lawyers. They'll lie to you, but we won't lie to you over here, all right? Because we are sworn to tell the truth. So like I said, leave right now. All right, or face utter destruction. But get this, you don't got to take my word for it. Listen to your leader.
If you're not happy here, then you can leave. As far as I'm concerned, if you hate our country,
and you do,
if you're not happy here, you can leave. If you're not happy in the U.S., if you're complaining all the time, very simply, you can leave. You can leave right now. Come back if you want. Don't come back. It's okay too. But if you're not happy, you can leave.
Right. If you're not happy in the United States of America, do us all a favor and leave. Now, on that note, ladies and gentlemen, I got to get out of here at exactly 8:30, all right? So this is going to be a quick show, all right? I'm going to try to stay under my 1-hour monologue so that we can get straight to the boxes, but don't hold me to it, but I'll try my best to do it, all right? So I want to kick this show off, ladies and gentlemen, by talking about the elephant in the room, all right? Donald Trump has run out of trial delays, all right, because the judge in New York, Judge Merchan, has had it with him. And I want to make sure we are all on the same page. Listen, I know MAGA will not believe nothing that I'm saying.
The Manhattan District.
So what I'm going to do is, this message is for all of the real Americans out there, the real Democrats, the real independents, and the real Republicans. This is over MAGA's head. Listen, ladies and gentlemen, Donald Trump right now is terrified. He's terrified, and so are his supporters, because this is going to be probably the first time in his life he's going to actually have to sit down at the table and get spoonful after spoonful. We're talking tablespoons, not teaspoons. Spoonful after spoonful of accountability. All right, when he goes to trial in New York for that hush money scheme that he was a part of, he is going to be held accountable like he's never been held accountable before. And I love this because so what if it's Biden's DOJ and it's been weaponized to go after former President Donald Trump. I don't care anymore because his crimes are so plentiful that it doesn't really matter how you get them as long as you get them, right? So listen to Andrew Weissman, ladies and gentlemen. You know who he is. He was on Morning Joe this morning, and he gave me the spark I needed this morning, ladies and gentlemen. Listen to what he has to say about what's actually about to happen to their cult leader, Donald Trump.
Seeking. Joining us now, NBC News legal analyst and former federal prosecutor Andrew Weissman. Andrew, does this case appear to be on track to start on the 15th?
Absolutely. All signs are that Judge Mershana has had it. All of the scheduled motions were supposed to be in weeks, if not months ago. All of the efforts you're seeing at the last minute by the former president to delay this trial have been rejected. As you said, there is now this pending motion about delaying the case because of pretrial publicity. That is going nowhere fast. That's everyone, both sides agree that pretrial publicity is going to continue and not abate at any time. So that's not a reason to put the trial off. It's a reason to make sure you're careful with jury selection, to make sure you can find 12 jurors who are going to be fair and impartial and put aside whatever feelings they have about the case and decide just based on the facts. But we are now 11 days away. And, I knock on wood, I think there are no more delays that are going to happen. We're going to see jury selection begin a week from Monday.
So Thank you, Andrew Weissman. No more delays, MAGA. None. Everything Donald Trump has tried to do to stop Alvin Bragg, all right, has backfired. No more delays. You know what he's doing now? He's ramping up his attacks on the judge's daughter and the judge's family because he's just hoping the judge takes him up on one of his offers and decides to do something that will delay this case. But it's not going to work because the American people are fed up, ladies and gentlemen, with Donald Trump and his supporters. We really are. I saw someone in the audience just a few moments ago. They said something like, Donald Trump is up in the poll numbers. I want to say this to you because I know that MAGA Demon told you to type that, all right? That's all good. But when these court cases start and he's in the courtroom 4 days out of the week and he's not campaigning, his poll numbers, come a little closer to me, you MAGA Demon, come a little closer to me. They're going to tank like his stock in Truth Social. We got a long way to go until November, and Donald Trump is going to spend a good chunk of that time in the courtroom and not on the campaign trail. He's not going to be able to use the money he's taking from you supporters. He's not going to be able to use that on his campaign. He's going to be using that to invest in some attorneys and some lawyers, right? And so on that note, ladies and gentlemen, you know what we got to do. Join me in giving Donald Trump and his supporters what they deserve rightfully this month. What is this? Thursday morning. I'm so sorry. Wow. Our first honorable round of booze and shame.
Silence! You never demon!
Oh, yeah. It's not getting any better for you Trump supporters. Listen, I have no reason to get out here and spread lies or misinformation to all of you, all right? So for all of you Trump supporters out there that your feelings are hurt and stuff like that, do me a huge favor. Don't type another word in the chat, please. You're going to lose this conversation battle, right? You're going to lose. Don't type another word in the chat. Just do me a favor. Sit your special behinds down and listen to this special broadcast. You just might learn something. I know it bothers a lot of you Trump supporters out there that someone like myself, with all of my handsomeness and my intelligence, and by the way, my humility, all right, and my honesty, you just can't believe that I'm doing laps around you, right? And I've been right the whole time, MAGA, right? Remember when your instructor Snuggles, thank you, Little Hawk, for the subscription. Remember when Snuggles told you about 22-380, him and the Russian Bears? Whatever happened to 22-380 MAGA? It went nowhere. Remember when he told you about some so-called red wave MAGA? It never happened. That's because Americans all across this country are rejecting Donald Trump and the MAGA cult. You're not the majority. You're the minority. All right? Now let's move it along, ladies and gentlemen. A criminologist explains why keeping Trump from the White House is all that matters. All right? And this is serious. All right? The danger and consequences locally and globally of electing Donald Trump for a second time must be stressed every hour of the day between now and November 5th. That is because this election is first and foremost a matter of national security at home and abroad. And Trump poses a grave threat to both. This election is not a matter of politics as usual, nor is this election about the crucifixion of Donald Trump by the deep state, or the selling of an overpriced Bible by a lifelong atheist portraying himself as a Christian on Easter Sunday and International Transgender Day of Visibility. The 2024 election is all about Trump posting a video on Truth Social of a picture of President Joe Biden hogtied on the back of a MAGA pickup truck, allegedly on its way to a funeral of a New York police officer who lost his life in the line of duty. This election has also been about gag orders not going far enough and the failure to implement sanctions to lock Trump up for threatening prosecutors, judges, family members, and witnesses, at least until Monday night's ruling in the Manhattan case by Judge Juan Merchan. The difference to Trump's thus far has been absolutely nothing to do with the First Amendment or the fact that he is running for president. It has everything to do with the institutional failures of the United States criminal justice systems to treat Trump, who faces 88 felony charges across 4 separate criminal cases, the same way as anyone else who threatens the fair administration of the due process of justice. A victory this fall by Donald Trump and his supporters threatens the end of democracy as we know it for some 250 years. At best, a second Trump administration would usher in a new domestic order of illiberal democracy and disinformation. At worst, it would result in the United States entry into an anti-democratic axis of autocratic, plutocratic, and kleptocratic nations. Open recognition of these realities must become an everyday part of the 2024 presidential election. Trump's desired illiberal democracy or authoritarian regime is being brought to the nation by thinking and planning of Turning Point USA, the Federalist Society, the Heritage Foundation, the American Legislative Exchange Council, and the Conservative Partnership Institute. This coalition of conservative stink tanks, we're going to call them stink tank because they stink, right? Led by the Heritage Foundation, are all in with Trumpism, and they have helped to produce Project 2025, this 920-page report, all right, which was published in 2022 and, quote, promises revenge, oppression, and autocratic rule, all right? That's what it does. These are demonic writings that Donald Trump plans on implementing. All right? So, ladies and gentlemen, now that it's crystal clear, right, what Donald Trump and MAGA are all about, right? They are a national security threat on so many different levels, right? They don't care about the United States of America. All they care about is Donald Trump, right? And having control over you. With that being said, ladies and gentlemen, you should read this. It's a good read. But I want to make sure every voter out there understands America as you know it will disappear if Donald Trump is given a second chance to get his hands, those those red hands. We call them red hands because of all the people who've lost their life under this guy, right? If he gets those red hands back on the levers of power again, kiss the United States goodbye. Ladies and gentlemen, join me once again in giving Donald Trump and the MAGA movement, the entire MAGA movement, anyone that owns a red hat, another round of booze and shame. Yeah, these little red hands.
Silence! You MAGA demon!
I see there's some dissension in my comment section right now. You must not have heard me at the top of my show.
If you're not happy here, then you can leave. As far as I'm concerned, if you hate our country, if you're not happy here, you can leave.
Does anyone, listen, I gotta ask this question. I don't think I've asked it all week. To my fellow Americans out there, is there anyone out there forcing MAGA to stay in the United States? Please raise your hand out there. Thank you, Mickey Pete. Is there anyone out there forcing MAGA to stay here in the United States? Please raise your hand. Anyone out there forcing MAGA to stay in the United States? I'm looking for some yeses. I'm not seeing any yeses. I see some no's. I see quite a bit of no's out there. Anyone forcing MAGA? Hell no. Look at that, Tiffany. You said hell no. Look at this, MAGA. Nobody wants you here. So why don't you just go to Russia and hang out with Vladimir Putin? That's a better use of your talent, whatever you have. But here in the United States, I firmly believe if you really want to make America great again, I wish this was my main account because I had the little emote for the subscribers. If you really want to make America, right, Miss Boss Diva? If you want to make America great again, leave. We should start deporting MAGA. Marjorie Trader Green, gotta go. Right? Right. Who else is out there? Jim Jordan, he gotta go. Donald Trump gotta go. Just deport these knuckleheads and get them out of here. I guarantee you this country would thrive like it's never thrived. I promise you. All right, let's move it along, all right? I gotta move quickly because, like I said, we gotta end it at 8:30. All right, Mary Trump says that her Uncle Donald, quote, willing to do business with anyone after reports emerged Trump media was bailed out by Russian-American businessmen under a federal probe. All right. Legendary investor Tim Melvin unearthed triple threat stocks in his yield report. All right, here it goes. Trump Media and Technology Group, the social media venture of former President Donald Trump, was able to make its public debut last week, largely due to emergency loans it received in 2022. A Russian-American businessman currently under federal investigation for insider trading and money laundering partly provided these loans, according to reports. Trump Media was on the verge of failing to merge with Digital World Acquisition Corporation, a move that would have taken the parent company of Truth Social public. This was due to securities investigations into the merger in 2021, which led to the company rapidly depleting its cash reserves while awaiting its stock market debut. All right? Trump Media turned to emergency loans, including those from an entity known as ES Family Trust. Isn't that something? They put the word family and trust in there to hide the criminality. This is what MAGA does. This trust is associated with Paxum Bank, a small bank registered in Dominica. Leaked documents indicate that ES Family Trust functioned as a shell company for Anton Podolinskov, a Russian-American businessman who co-owned Paxum Bank and is under federal investigation in relation to Trump Media merger, according to reports. All right. Now, this is what Mary Trump went on to say. She says, quote, The Guardian claims Russian-American businessman Anton Poliskanov, who is currently under federal investigation for insider trading and money laundering, made a sweetheart loan that Truth Social desperately needed. The critical part of this story, ladies and gentlemen, the critical part of this story is this. Oh, thank you, Karma, for the subscription, all right? The critical part of the story is, Donald Trump has shown time and time again that he is willing to do business with anyone and take money from anyone as long as it serves his interests. Again, ladies and gentlemen, Another example of how Donald Trump is a national security threat to the United States. Who's he going to try to do business with next? Who does Donald Trump want to do business with next, ladies and gentlemen? This is why he should never, ever be in the White House again. Next thing you know, he's going to be trying to align himself with some random criminal out there, right? Ladies and gentlemen, you know what we got to do. Join me in giving Donald Trump, once again, another round of booze and shame. Because he keeps saying, there's no Russia, right? He keeps saying there's no Russia, but every time we turn around, he's somehow doing business with these folks. Let's give him some booze and shame. Let's go. All right, let's move it along. All right. Speaking of who would he do business with next? This is alarming at so many levels right here. All right, guess what? Trump recently spoke with Saudi Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman. Oh, once again, MAGA. Morningstar, thank you for the subscription. Why is Donald Trump talking to MBS? Does he know anybody in the United States of America at this point that he can actually do business with? Why is he always cozying up to these dictators? Donald Trump and Saudi Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman spoke recently, according to reports, in their first known conversation since Donald Trump left the White House. I hope you talked about Jared Kushner getting the $2 billion. Okay, because I would love to know exactly what the details were behind that $2 million and why it hasn't been investigated. Two sources told the New York Times that the conversation had taken place, but the nature of what the two men discussed was not disclosed. It is not clear if the recent chat was the only time the pair have spoken since Donald Trump left the office 3 years ago. The report comes as Biden administration is pushing for Saudi to normalize relations with Israel, a diplomatic effort that was complicated by the H attack on October 7th and the consequent war in Gaza. News of Trump's MBS talk also follows the Republican presumptive nominee's meeting with Hungarian Prime Minister Viktor Orban last month. Orban traveled to Trump's Mar-a-Lago resort in Florida to get together, which was cited by President Joe Biden's criticism of the Hungarian leader for having, quote, stated flatly that he doesn't think democracy works and is looking for dictatorship. Ladies and gentlemen, you see what we have right here, right? Another example, good morning, another example of Donald Trump, once again, doing something that he shouldn't be doing with leaders, with dictators, dangerous individuals, right? I got to be careful out here, right? And his supporters, they won't condemn it. If this was Joe Biden, I know MAGA would be up in arms. They would be having a fit if Joe Biden did this stuff. But when Donald Trump does it, ladies and gentlemen, they say, you know what? It's all good. That's our man. Ladies and gentlemen, join me once again in giving seditionist, treasonous, traitorous Donald Trump what he deserves. Another round of booze and shame. Some sick stuff.
Silence! You MAGA demon!
This is some sick stuff, ladies and gentlemen, and this is what Americans all across the country would potentially have to deal with, all right, in the event that Donald Trump was somehow reelected, all right? Now, let's move it along, ladies and gentlemen, because we don't got much time. What is all these alerts going off on the top of my screen, ladies? I don't know what the heck's happening with TikTok, all right? I want to talk about this next issue. Here we go right here, all right? This is MAGA business right here, ladies and gentlemen. All right, what do we got? Oh, you know how they love to be tough on immigration. Thank you, Jess. Thank you. You know how these Trump supporters like to be tough on immigration, right? Well, here's this traitor, Texas National Guardsman. Guess what? caught smuggling migrants across the southern border in his government SUV. You play with fire, you're gonna get burned. All right, here we go, ladies and gentlemen. Dramatic video captured the moment a Texas National Guardsman was captured after allegedly smuggling an illegal immigrant to the southern border and leading police on a high-speed chase in a government-issued SUV. Specialist Savion Amari Donovan Johnson, who's 26 years old, is seen being dragged out of the vehicle by members of the Texas Department of Public Safety and Kinney County Sheriff's deputies. Let's unpack this story, ladies and gentlemen, because you know when I first saw this story, right? Look at this. I said, oh my God. Say this is so. Is this one of those blacks for Trump right here? I said, oh, this is one of those blacks for Trump, ladies and gentlemen. Look at. This is what they did to him. All right, hold on. Let me see if we can get this audio going. All right, they had to pull this brother over.
Not this way. Have money back. Why are you running, dude? I got very, very scared. Of what? You see fucking red lights?
I know, I'm just very scared.
He's the driver. Him.
They called him a traitor as they're handcuffing this guy, right? This is one of those blacks for Trumps. Look at this, lady. Smuggling migrants in his government-issued SUV.
Oh, yeah, I'm so stupid.
Yeah, you are fucking stupid, man. You know how many people you could have fucking killed now? Jesus Christ.
Oh, paid Trump operative. Really? You think this is a Trump operative?
Shit, man. Sorry.
All right, so ladies and gentlemen, what you have right here, you heard it right there. That was the police bringing this knucklehead to justice, right? They're bringing him to justice, all right? They captured the moment when the Texas National Guardsman was captured for allegedly smuggling an illegal immigrant into the southern border and leading police on a high-speed chase, all right? He was arrested Sunday in Brackettville after the chase, which reached speeds over 100 miles per hour, and charged with evading arrest, smuggling of a person, and unlawful carry of a weapon. The soldier was deployed to Eagle Pass Crossing, get this, as part of Governor Greg Abbott's Operation Lone Star State. You see how it all comes back to you, MAGA? You see how it all backfires, right? You see how this all backfired. This is another example of someone that is a MAGA demon getting the ultimate MAGA reward, right? And you know exactly what the ultimate MAGA reward is. What? Jail, and if you don't get your soul right, hell, right? So now look at this knucklehead. He was all on social media. We don't like Biden. We need Trump. Secure our borders. And then we catch you, the same knucklehead out there, one of those blacks for Trump, transporting migrants in illegally. And you were carrying some weapons, they said, as well. And you were resisting arrest and taking them on a high-speed chase. You've definitely gotten yourself the ultimate MAGA reward, right? Ladies and gentlemen, you can't make this stuff up. You really can't. I wish I was, but you can't. Join me once again in giving Greg Abbott, this is for Greg Abbott because it's his operation that led to this, right? This is all on Greg Abbott's hand, and Donald Trump too, and this MAGA demon who tried to play both sides what they deserve. Another round of what? Booze and shame! All right, let's move it along. We got a couple more topics, and then I got to open up these boxes, all right? I want to make sure we are all on the same page, all right? And you know who this is right here. Speaker Mike Johnson. Guess what he has to do, ladies and gentlemen? There's no, listen, when they say there's no honor amongst thieves, that is so true. And this is another example of why it's true. Speaker Johnson fending off GOP revolt as questions raised over possibly quitting. Mike Johnson, you want to quit now? What would make you want to quit, Mike Johnson? Don't you have? Aren't you winning, Mike Johnson? Why would you quit? Why would a winner quit? It doesn't make any sense. When Congress comes back into session, House Speaker Mike Johnson, all right, will be faced with a growing revolt from his caucus as he tries to advance legislation that is deeply unpopular with right-wing members of his own party. According to a report, all right, Marjorie Taylor Greene has been using the recess to stir up colleagues and to set the stage for forcing Johnson out in the similar manner that led to former Speaker Kevin McCarthy to be ousted, which then led to his retirement from office. All right. The report goes on to note that Johnson has been privately complaining about the demands of the job, leading some allies to believe he'd be happy to step down. Quote, Speaker Mike Johnson would like Washington to believe he's playing a meticulous game of chess as he prepares to pass Ukraine aid while fending off a right-wing revolt. However, quote, he might have actually instead played himself into checkmate. Johnson's determination to act on Ukraine is putting him on a collision course with his conference hardliners, multiple Republicans are saying, and Greene's removal push could easily grow legs, all right? According to one GOP caucus member, when Greene first threatened to oust Johnson, he could have called her bluff and put it to a vote. But time has passed. Now, however, every day that it gets kicked down the road, the chances of it happening become more real. Even if Johnson somehow manages to hold on, and that's a big if, there's already whispers in the House GOP circles that he's not in it for the long haul, right? Many Republicans privately concede that they're unlikely to keep the House this fall, right? Because there's not going to be a red wave. They know this. And if they don't, there will be pressure on Johnson to step aside from leadership completely, as has happened to the GOP speakers who have lost the majority since the 1950s, all right? And the report goes on to document Johnson's personal displeasure with the job. Ladies and gentlemen, as you can see, this is more evidence that the Republican Party isn't winning, right? This is more evidence that Donald Trump is a loser, right? And this is why Mike Johnson is clashing with Marjorie Taylor Greene. Think about that. When you're clashing with your own party and the election hasn't even happened and you got folks retiring left and right, it's a sign. The writing is on the wall. Americans all across this country are fed up with Donald Trump, all right? MAGA. We're fed up with those like clickbait. You know his name is trash bait, right? We're fed up with these demons, right? Ladies and gentlemen, join me once again in giving Mike Johnson and Donald Trump and Marjorie Taylor Greene, all right? And Kevin McCarthy. He's not even there, but we're going to give it to him, all right? Matt Gaetz, we're going to give it to him. We're going to give it to Jim Jordan and James Comer, too. Let's give the entire GOP, especially the MAGA extremists within it, what they deserve. Another round of booze and shame. Silence, you MAGA demons. See, I don't allow Trump supporters to be victims around me, ladies and gentlemen. And if I were you, I wouldn't even let them. If you ever run across a Trump supporter, listen to me, my fellow Americans. If you ever run across a Trump supporter, all right, and they're going to deny their Trump supporters, especially because they know the jig is up. So they'll try to use this thing and they'll say, well, I'm really an independent. Or they'll say, oh, well, I voted for Obama and I voted for Trump, so I'm not really a Trump. No, ask them this. Do you believe that the 2020 election was rigged, right? And if they're not a Trump supporter, they'll say no. But if they're a Trump supporter, they'll him and ha, right? Every Trump supporter, all right, is a well-known liar. They're never right about anything. They're not Christians, right? They're not Christians. They're liars. They're demented. And they're not patriots. They're traitors, right? And I don't allow those individuals to be victims around me, because when you think about the harm that they've caused this country, right? You start to have this nasty feeling in your stomach. You're going, wow, what did the Trump supporters do? Well, they terrorized the United States of America, even to this day. I don't know if you heard the story, but just this week, one of them ran into the FBI headquarters out there in Atlanta, right? They're domestic terrorists. Secret Service is all over the United States going after these folks because they're radicalized off of what Donald Trump is saying on his Truth Social post, right? And it gets even worse. But if you think about it, that's just an example of recent things that they've done. But look at what Donald Trump did to this country while we were struggling with a pandemic. He lied to the American people, right? And then the way he left this, when he left the presidency, right? He left the White House. And before he left, he launched an attack on the United States government. Think about all that abuse Donald Trump and his domestic terrorist following have done to this country. Could you really sit down with these people and allow them to become victims? Think about it. No matter if, what is the worst thing that they could possibly bring up to say that Joe Biden did or Barack Obama did? Think about these things that they'll say. And you'll be able to instantly say, well, okay, I'm not saying that didn't happen, but how do you explain 4 different indictments and 88 felonies? How do you explain the civil fraud cases? How do you explain the 2 impeachments? When you put the numbers and you look at it, anybody that can do basic math should be able to logically conclude that Donald Trump is a terrible individual. He's so terrible, his wife doesn't even want to campaign. Are you going to campaign with him? You'll see. Most women that are in love with their partner, you couldn't get them out of the camera. They'd be all over. I can't stand not being around because they love their man so much. But not Melania, not her. And I don't even like bringing Melania up like that. But, I got to start speaking. Where the heck is Melania at? Seriously, the woman that loves you. Why isn't she right there next to you, shoulder to shoulder? That is a cause for alarm. Seriously. All right, now listen, I got to wrap it up, but before we do, let's talk about January 6th, right, Tiffany? Where the heck is she? All right, so January 6th, I tell this story because I want everyday Americans to understand what really happened on January 6th. What I'm saying to you is necessary because Donald Trump doesn't want this truth to come out during his trials, right? That's why he's trying to delay it. January 6th, 2020. That is the year this country was on its knees due to a pandemic that Donald Trump lied to the American people about. Millions of Americans lost their lives, right? During that time, the economy came to a screeching halt. Sean Hannity was on the news yesterday, and he asked the most ridiculous question with, you know who he is, Tim Scott. Weren't you better off today than you were 4 years ago? And these Trump supporters keep lying and saying that 4 years ago from today that they were actually better off. And the answer, and the truth is, ladies and gentlemen, 4 years ago from today, they weren't better off. They were arguing over ventilators. The nation was going through a lockdown. No one was going on vacation. All right. No one was going on vacation. They were doing COVID testing, triangulating it. Trump was trying to implement national lockdowns. So you couldn't even travel across state lines in certain cases. Children were working remotely, working at home with their parents, right? You weren't better off today. You weren't better off 4 years ago than you are today. But nevertheless, the Trump supporters will try to get you to believe that. This is what was actually happening, though. Donald Trump knew he was going to lose the election, so he planted a seed in the mind of his Trump supporters.
It's a rigged election. It's the only way we're going to lose.
Right. It's a rigged election. It's the only way we're going to lose. So he put that seed in their minds, and then he decided, you know what? It's time to go ahead and campaign. He held rallies when he shouldn't have held them because there was a pandemic. And at one rally, you remember it, one of his good friends, Herman Deranged Cain. Remember Herman Cain, that black for Trump individual? Well, Herman Cain decided to ignore protocol, ignore the CDC, and go to a Trump rally, unmasked, right? And guess what happened when he got there? He contracted it. Yeah, I got to keep it clean because you know TikTok is watching, right? And next thing you know, Herman Cain lost his life because of Donald Trump. Irresponsible conduct as a leader. So while this is all unfolding, everyone in this country knew Donald Trump wasn't going to get a second chance at being president of the United States, not with such a terrible record. So what happened? Well, I'll tell you what happened. Election night happened, and Donald Trump, instead of conceding to President Biden, he came out and lied to his supporters, actually pouring water on the seed in their minds.
We had such a big night. You just take a look at all of these states that we've won tonight, and then you take a look at the kind of margins that we've won them by. And all of a sudden, it's not like we're up to 12 votes and we have 60% left. We won states, and all of a sudden, I said, what happened to the election? It's off. And we have all these announcers saying, what happened? And then they said, oh, because you know what happened? They knew they couldn't win. So they said, let's go to court. And did I predict this, Newt? Did I say this? I've been saying this from the day I heard they were going to send out tens of millions of ballots. I said exactly, because either they were going to win, or if they didn't win, they'll take us to court. So Florida was a tremendous victory.
Wait a second. Lee, what did you say? Is this the way most Democrats think? This is Donald Trump talking. This isn't a Democrat, Lee. Wake up, Lee. I'm telling you the truth about what happened January 6th. So that was Donald Trump, Lee, pouring water on that seed of doubt that he planted into the MAGA minds, all right? But Donald Trump wasn't satisfied. He said, I need my Trump supporters to become my soldiers because I got a plan to keep myself president of the United States. I got a plan, but I need my Trump supporters to be my soldiers. So what else did he do election night? He went one step further.
76,000 votes with almost nothing left. And all of a sudden everything just stopped. This is a fraud on the American public. This is an embarrassment to our country. We were getting ready to win this election. Frankly, we did win this election.
And right there, Lee, that's when the light bulb turned on and they went from being normal citizens, normal Trump supporters to being MAGA Confederate soldiers for Donald Trump. And Donald Trump pretty much became the modern day Jefferson Davis of the South, all right? Where his headquarters are in Mar-a-Lago. So now that his supporters are now his soldiers, it is now time to move on to the next phase of the attack on the United States government. So what does Donald Trump decide to do, ladies and gentlemen? You remember this, the infamous perfect phone call.
I just want to find 11,780 votes, which is one more than we have.
Oh, Mikey Jablonski. Mikey. Where are you from, Mikey, with a name like that, Mikey? Why? Where are you from, Mikey? Because I'm not lying to you. I'm telling you the God honest truth. They call me Triple H for a reason. The first H stands for honesty, Mikey. So now that he's made such a perfect phone call, Donald Trump, that's called the fake elector scheme that he did right there. He said it was a perfect phone call. Now it is time to move on to the next phase of the attack, all right? Because I've already got my supporters to believe that the election was stolen. I've already put something in motion over here out there in Atlanta, all right, Fulton County, to get them to get me some votes. Now it is time to plan the next attack. So what does he do? Attention, Mikey! Attention, Lee! All Trump supporters out there. I lost to Joe Biden and I am angry. So what I need you two to do, and the rest of you, I need you to send me all the money you have right now. That would really make me feel good, all right? Send it to me now. It's mine. But I'm also going to need you to meet me in Washington, D.C. on January 6th at an event I am hosting called Stop the Steal. All right? Be there. It's going to be wild. And so folks like Lee in the audience and Mikey Jablonski, whatever it is, Mickey Jablonski, you know what they did? They jumped in the back of these U-Hauls. They put on their khaki pants, right? They put on those khaki pants. They put on those masks. You know, it was during the pandemic. And these two individuals in my audience right now, Mickey and Lee, these are the same individuals that were saying during the pandemic, oh, don't make me wear a mask, because if I wear a mask, I can't breathe. I can't breathe. But when Donald Trump said, meet me in Washington, D.C., guess what these two did? They put that mask on, no problem. Isn't that interesting? Mickey and Lee. And they all decided to converge on the United States Capitol on January 6th. And when they got there, they received some orders from one of the lieutenants, one of Donald Trump's lieutenants, Lieutenant Marjorie Trader Green, you know, who we all suspect may be responsible for planting those pipe bombs around the Capitol, right? What did Marjorie tell these soldiers, these Confederate soldiers?
Everything. If we flood the Capitol building, flood all the government buildings, go inside. These are public buildings. We own them. We own these buildings. Do you understand that? We own the buildings and we pay all the people that work in the building.
So that's Lieutenant Marjorie Trader Green amping it up for MAGA. All right. The building is yours. The Capitol building is yours. This is after Donald Trump told him the election was stolen and he won. Oh, they are ready to go. They're ready to go for Donald Trump, right? So Donald Trump hears they're all at the ellipse waiting for him. He's in the White House, MAGA. And guess what he does? He has a conversation with his vice president, Mike Pence. Hey, Pence, you know that conversation we had where I need you to not certify the votes? Where are we at with that? Well, Mr. President, I can't do that because that would be a violation of the Constitution. And I don't want to, you don't want me to put you above the Constitution, right, Mr. President Trump? That's what they said. Donald Trump looked at Mike Pence. See, that's your problem, Mike Pence. You're too honest, Mike Pence. I'll take care of it myself. And stormed out of the office. He goes to Secret Service. Hey, take me to meet my soldiers at the ellipse. Sir, those people have weapons, tactical gear. I don't care if they got that stuff. They're not bringing that to harm me. I'm the president. Take me to be with my troops. Secret Service had no other choice but to oblige, and they all decided to take that ride to the ellipse. All right, Mike Pence had to go do his thing, though. All right, Mike Pence went to Congress. Donald Trump gets to the ellipse, ladies and gentlemen, right? And he sees this field of red hats, these Trump flags, Trump 2024, right? Even Confederate flags. He sees them. And he says, this is the Civil War I've been waiting for. So what does he decide to do next? He decides to rile up his troops and encourage them to what? Engage in heinous acts of violence.
Now it is up to Congress to confront this egregious assault on our democracy. And after this, we're going to walk down, and I'll be there with you. We're going to walk down. We're going to walk down anyone you want, but I think right here we're going to walk down to the Capitol. And we're going to cheer on our brave senators and congressmen and women. And we're probably not going to be cheering so much for some of them. Because you'll never take back our country with weakness. You have to show strength and you have to be strong.
And then once again, you could hear the soldiers really enthused about doing the next phase of the attack. After that, they all began to march towards the United States Capitol, where Congress was, where the vice president was. All right? And on their way there, you know they had to do it, right? They said, why don't we threaten the vice president of the United States? All right, let's go ahead and do that. Make sure we send him a message, because you know Donald Trump had just tweeted, these are the things that happened, all right, referring to Mike Pence. And they decided to say some nasty words to Mike Pence. You hear that? They wanted to unalive the president, their own vice president. Think about that. Their own vice president. These are traitors, not patriots. Donald Trump, he said he would go there with them, but he never actually walked with them. He went to the White House, so that was a lie. There was a scene that transpired where they ran across one of their own. Ray Epps. Remember Ray Epps? They saw Ray Epps' fit, which shows that they recognized that there may have been the chance that law enforcement was there, right? So I got this question for you Trump supporters, right? If you honestly believe that Ray Epps was the feds, this means that you believe that he was the FBI, then why did you break the law right in front of the cops? You hear me, MAGA? Why did you break the law right in front of the cops? That's crazy, right? That's like you're going to go rob a bank and you get there and you see all these cars there, right? Police cars. And then you see actual FBI cars out there too. And you say to your smart self, this must be part of the plan. This is like, yeah, I didn't think about it, but this is actually the best time to rob the bank while the cops are there. Why didn't I think of that? I've asked these Trump supporters, if you really believe the cops were there, why'd you do it? You know what they do? They go blank. You ever see their eyes go blank, flatline? Blank. They have no answer. But here's the answer. They don't have an answer to that question because they know the simple answer is this. They weren't in control of themselves that day. The MAGA demon was taken over and they blacked out. Donald Trump had hijacked their minds, right? And so, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for bearing with me through this terrible, dark day in American history, right? And now that we are at the crime scene of January 6th all over again, we must talk about what's happened to another insurrectionist, another traitor, all right? One of Donald Trump's soldiers. I'm going to provide an update on what happened to one of his soldiers that day that they were there committing this crime, placing a dagger at the throat of our democracy. A man arrested Tuesday in Stark County is accused of trespassing in the United States Capitol during the riots on January 6, 2021. Federal agents arrested Andrew Miller on Tuesday, April 2nd, in Wilmot. An arrest warrant shows he is now charged by criminal complaints in Ohio's Northern District Federal Court and has had his first court appearance on Tuesday. Here it goes. Now, for those of you who heard my story and explained how it all happened, tell me if you don't see the parallels, that what I said and how it matches up to this traitor's story. Miller traveled to Washington by a van with a group of 10 to 15 people. All right, I said U-Haul. Okay, a van. All right, according to the Cleveland FBI agent who investigated the case. Social media activity from December 2020 appears to show Miller coordinating his trip. After a group of former President Donald Trump supporters marched to the Capitol building, Miller allegedly climbed inside through a window next to the Senate wing door, which had been broken by rioters minutes before it setting off an alarm. All right. And if you want to see, this is what we are dealing with. This is what we're talking about. He was seen on surveillance footage walking through different areas of the building, carrying a flagpole, which he later dropped. He was also seen carrying a gas mask, which he later used to protect himself from chemical spray hanging in the air inside the building. He exited the building about 20 minutes after getting in, climbing out of the same set of windows, according to the complaint. Look at this. He got MAGA superpowers. You know what those superpowers do? They allow you to break the law, climb through windows like a modern day superhero. But this is the MAGA demon, ladies and gentlemen. All right. William's cell phone location records put him at the Capitol building the afternoon of the riots, according to the complaint. During an interview at his home, agents showed Miller pictures they believed to be of him inside of the Capitol building. Miller reportedly said those photos were possibly him. I can't confirm that it's me, but it's possible. This is how he talked. He later admitted to the agents that he went inside the building according to the complaint. He claimed to have videos he took from inside the Capitol, but later told investigators they had been deleted from his cell phone as well as his online storage. Once again, so proud to commit the crime in front of the cops, but then doesn't want to do the time. Isn't that something, MAGA? Isn't this something? It's the same story over and over. Miller told agents he brought the gas mask because he anticipated, get this, why'd you bring the gas mask? I brought these gas masks because I anticipated that I would be experiencing trouble from Antifa. You see how these folks think? They literally are making up scenarios in their mind to justify committing crimes. If you're that scared, why are you there? See, these folks don't get it. If you're that scared, why are you there? He didn't identify any of his traveling companions. At Miller's Tuesday court appearance in Youngstown, he declined to identify himself, refused to speak to the court or his appointed public defender, and also declined the defender's representation according to the court documents. Additional hearings on his identity and continued detention are set for April 9th at Youngstown Courthouse, court record says. Ladies and gentlemen, once again, we've captured another MAGA demon and brought them to justice, right? Thank God. Really, thank God. These folks are some of the most dangerous people in American history. Look at these guys right here. Ladies and gentlemen, join me in giving seditionist Miller what he deserves. A round of boos and shame. Get him out of here.
Silence! You MAGA demon!
All right, and since he's been arrested and brought to justice, let's send him off the old-fashioned way.
I'd like to begin by addressing the heinous attack on the United States Capitol. Like all Americans, I am outraged by the violence, lawlessness, and mayhem. I immediately deployed the National Guard and federal law enforcement to secure the building and expel the intruders. America is and must always be a nation of law and order. The demonstrators who infiltrated the Capitol have defiled the seat of American democracy. To those who engaged in the acts of violence and destruction, you do not represent our country. And to those who broke the law, you will pay.
You hear that, Maggie? You heard what he said? You do not represent this country. Those of you who engaged in those heinous acts of violence. You know, it's the saddest thing, ladies and gentlemen. I promise you, this is. I have to live, and all of us here in the United States have to live with the reality that millions and millions of Americans all across this country who believe in Donald Trump, right? These folks believe in everything Donald Trump say. They wake up every day and they listen to a man, all right, get this. They listen to a man that paints himself orange, right? Puts a bird's nest on his head, right. Puts on a diaper, puts on that crumpled blue suit, and gives them their daily marching orders. And then they get out here on TikTok and argue about how great Donald Trump supposedly was, despite the overwhelming evidence that proves otherwise. You all understand you're in a cult, right? All you Trump supporters, you do get this, right? Because everything you're saying, you cannot back it up. I've been doing these shows for well over a year, almost 2 years, I believe, maybe over 2 years. And I have never ran across a Trump supporter that can actually bring evidence. I'm talking about real evidence to support their position. And that speaks volumes, MAGA. This is why Donald Trump won't get a second term. You can't say you were doing better 4 years ago than you are today. When you know the truth was 4 years ago from today, Donald Trump had you on your knees in fear because all around the country, folks are dropping due to the dangers of the pandemic. You can't sit here and lie to us about that. You can't lie that he wasn't impeached twice, right? This is what I'm saying. And then even the way that he left, I just covered it. January 6th. He has you sitting in the jail cell, prison in Washington, D.C., and he hasn't put a single dollar, a single penny on your books to help you out for your pain and suffering. You're sitting in a jail cell in Washington, D.C., and you're blaming the Democrats. Oh my God, I gotta say this, and then I'll open up the boxes. Here's the truth, MAGA. All of you who are in my comments right now upset and angry, you're not angry at Zeus. You're not angry at the Democrats. You're not angry at the real Republicans or the rhinos, as you like to call them, even though you're really the rhinos, right? You're angry at yourselves. Because the stuff that you want to complain about and say, you know it's stuff that Donald Trump did to you, not us. But you're too scared. You're too scared to look Donald Trump in his eyes and say, Mr. Former President, no. You can't say no to him. Don't you understand who has the power? It's not you. You were having a good day until I came. Well, that's good. I'm glad I ruined your day because I told you must not have heard me at the top of the show. If you don't like it here, you can leave. Yeah, I wanted to ruin your day because that's what I'm doing. Hillary Clinton said you got to deprogram MAGA. This is a deprogramming platform for MAGA. Yeah, this is where you come get the code that you got, right? In the computer science, you got a code, right? Well, the code that you got a little bit of a bug. So what we're going to do is run some software, all right? And then it's supposed to get that bug all worked out. And then you're supposed to be able to go on about your miserable day, all right? All right, ladies and gentlemen, I got to open up. It's a MAGA exorcism. Let's open up these boxes and hear from those of you who are brave enough to get in the box and tell the truth. Like I said, I got to get out of here at 8:30, all right? And so with that being said, we're going to try to get through as many folks as we can. If I don't get to you, please don't hold it against me. It doesn't mean I don't love you, all right? It just means I'm really trying my best to stick to the script, all right? But I'm hoping someone else goes live after me, all right? Yeah. So listen up, MAGA. If you want to talk to Zeus, honestly, I don't have any problem talking to you as long as you're being respectful, all right? But if you get in here and you're spreading lies and you can't provide any evidence, all right, you know what that means, right? I'm going to have to drop you like a bad habit. And I will do that, all right? Because we will not allow liars to prosper in this kingdom, all right? You take that mess over there and hang out with someone else who's okay with that, all right? Let's move it on. Let's bring up my first panel. Eddie said, welcome, brother. How are you doing?
What's going on, my brother? What's up?
What's going on? Not much. Just another day in the kingdom, all right?
So, they can't seem to get their self straight. They don't know how to file the correct paperwork.
Oh.
What in the hell is going on?
Could you please elaborate on that? I know what you're talking about, but for the Americans out there that are listening, they may not have been keeping up with this story.
Well, what had happened was he had file the bond and he didn't do it correctly. So they said, no, you cannot do it. That's how bad it is. It is ridiculous.
What case does this pertain to?
This is the bond for the
civil fraud
for the fraud case.
Yeah.
Yes. So we're not even talking about we're not even talking about the criminal cases. He can't get it right. He can't get right. What was the name of that movie? I Can't Get Right. Yeah. What's that movie? I Can't Get Right.
Yeah,
it's ridiculous, man.
Yeah, but leave it to his supporters. They'll tell you Donald Trump, he's the only one fit to actually run this country, and everything was good while he was president, right?
What I don't understand is the man can do nothing right in his life. He was given $400 million by his papa, and he blew it. He's got 6 bankruptcies. He doesn't care about women. And you think he can run this country correctly? Again? after the 4 years he was in there? What is wrong with these people, Zeus?
I have no answers, but I'm starting to recognize that maybe there is hope, and I'm hoping it happens when Donald Trump actually has to sit down in that courtroom and be held accountable, right? But I've been contemplating this. What would you have to say to those brothers out there? Because they're saying that there's black folks leaving the Democrat Party, right? You've heard this, right?
Well, thinking about the percentages on that, my brother. We talked about this last night in Union Gang. Okay, 75% of black men are voting for Biden. 93% of black women. Can we say that on the same as far as the white people?
Oh,
in percentages?
No.
We cannot.
Right. But people are saying, what do you say to those I don't want to use it, right? I got to keep it clean. To those who've sold their souls and are siding with Biden, all right? But they are of our complexion. What do you say to those folks?
I'd say, look in the mirror. You are not a cisgendered white male. He does not care about you. He does not even care about the poor ones in this country that are cis white males. So you better figure it out. He is not for you. He is for the rich. And guess what? He's not going to be rich pretty soon.
Nope.
So just look in the mirror. You are not of that kind. Look out for your best interests.
Do you think it comes from a place of low self-esteem, maybe even self-hate, that these folks are subscribing?
Look at Clarence Thomas. Clarence Thomas is a man of color. He was able to matriculate through Yale University because of affirmative action. And what did he kick out? What did he say was not good and was not good for this country? Affirmative action. Yep. He used it, brother. He used affirmative action. And guess what he did? I got it, but you can't get it.
Yep. Crabs in the bucket, right? One of those crabs in the bucket type of knuckle.
I get to the top of the bucket, and I'm not letting your ass come out. You can believe that.
Nasty.
Excuse your language. I'm so sorry, Zeus. I didn't mean it. I said something bad. I'm sorry.
No. Listen, that's fine. That's fine. That's.
But what I didn't do what Straight Facts does. I didn't do an MF. I didn't. Straight, if you listening, girl, you know I love you. I'm just saying, I didn't go that far. I did not go that far. My brother,
she got it honest, though. She got it honest. I get it.
Absolutely. Guys, think about it. When you go into that voting booth, come November, think about your best interest.
Right.
Who's looking out for you? Right. Who's looking out for the military? Who's looking out for this country? And who wants to look out for Putin?
Yep. No lies.
You got to think about that.
No lies detected.
We love you.
No lies detected. Well, listen, brother he said I appreciate it, all right? And
thank you so much for bringing me up, brother.
You're welcome.
I'm going to go ahead and agree with the 3 H's this time for you. The last time I didn't want to do it, but I'm going to go ahead and do it. You are a quite handsome man.
Oh, man. I know Nutty over there sitting somewhere feeling real soft.
You know he's in his feelings right now. He better get over that shit. Have a good one, brother.
All right, ladies and gentlemen. Let's give it up to Said He Said. No lies detected. Oh, wait a second. We got a MAGA demon out there.
What did he do? What did he say? What happened?
Oh, no. I'm going to move it along, all right? But listen. I'm
going
to get him. Sorry, Said He Said. We got to move it along. I want to know what Texas is saying out here. He said something about Biden is going to get us into some nasty situation. Texas. I sent you a request. Would you care to clarify your statement, Texas? Texas.
What up, Zeus?
Wait, what's going on? Are you okay?
Yeah, man, I'm great. How you doing today?
I'm doing all right. Well, listen, I saw your comment out there, and I'm just curious about. Did you mean Donald Trump was going to get us into a nuclear war if he becomes president? Is that what you meant?
No, So like in 2016, 2015, whenever Trump was running for office, everybody was saying that you can't give him the red button. You can't give him the football because he's going to get us into things that, we can't back out of.
Right.
And then so for that 4 years, we had the least amount of American conflict in American history.
Wait a
And
second.
then
Now, wait,
and
wait, wait,
then
wait.
so hold on. You invited me here, so I'm gonna speak my piece,
Well,
and
how
then I'll
much
let
time
you
are you
speak.
trying to talk? Because you're moving too
So, but
fast. But
anyways,
when no, listen,
yeah.
Texas, I
So
gotta
go
stop you.
ahead and
I gotta
cut me
stop
out.
you.
Yeah,
I gotta
I know
stop
you
you.
got to stop me.
You said least amount of conflict. Are you familiar with George Washington?
Sure.
Do you remember what happened during the war? Washington was, the president during that time. You remember that war?
Yep.
Okay, so where are you getting this idea that this was the least amount of conflict? Are you familiar with Abraham Lincoln?
Sure.
All right, was there a war under Abraham Lincoln?
Sure was.
Okay, so what's this thing you're saying about wars? And you said
Okay.
the
Well,
least amount of
what
conflict. I would
war?
argue Abraham Lincoln had a lot of conflict on his hand compared to Joe Biden, whatever, if that's what you're trying to bring
No,
up.
no, 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 no. I'm talking about the amount of conflict that Donald Trump had with his administration.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
I'm
yeah.
not talking about Joe Biden.
Oh, okay, okay, okay. So
So
what is the
basically,
conflict with Donald Trump that you're
exactly
trying?
what conflicts did Donald Trump have that had mass
Well, he had a
casualties?
lot of different things happening in the Middle East while he was president, all right, and in Iran, right? You do
Sure, he
remember
did.
that. It wasn't like
But
he didn't. It wasn't like the military was just sitting on its hands while Donald Trump was president, right?
I
He was
agree.
dropping bombs.
There's always military action going on.
Okay, okay. Well,
But
let me ask you
how
this.
much defense was spent and sent overseas to protect Ukraine and IDF under Donald
Oh,
Trump?
well, it depends, right? I mean, do you think Donald Trump had the courage to stand up to Vladimir Putin like Joe Biden does?
I think that folks look at Donald Trump different than they do Joe Biden. I
Well,
don't
they're two
think.
different people, but in your opinion, if you were president of the United States, would you stand up to Russia?
Yeah, I would.
Or would you do what Donald Trump did?
No, Russia needs to mind its own business, but
Okay.
at the same
Okay.
time, we need to stop this war with Russia through Ukraine because all it's doing is hurting people. I'm
Well,
not about
who
taking
okay.
land over, Zeus. I'm
Who
about people
started the
stop
war?
dying.
Who started the war and who started that conflict though?
Who did start the conflict?
Yeah, who?
Putin said that if Ukraine kept encroaching and if NATO kept encroaching
What? You're
on
not answering the
Russia's
question.
borders, I
You're
am
not answering.
answering it right now.
Okay, so
Putin told them. Putin
okay.
started the conflict.
Okay. So you get what's happening, right? So
Yeah.
we understand that if Putin isn't stopped, this is going to lead to more and more U.S. involvement, possibly American soldiers getting involved, right?
It's going to.
Yeah. So wouldn't you agree that what Biden did was the correct thing as the president of the United States? Because someone had to stop Putin, right? And it's not just the United States; other nations, other countries that are a part of NATO are also invested in making sure.
Why do we have to use billions of dollars of arms in 2024 whenever something can be done diplomatically?
What could be done diplomatically?
People can meet at a table. There's all kinds of
Right.
trade agreements. There's all, I mean, there's
But you're
things
not
that
answering my
conversations.
question. Because see, the thing is, that's what I call, you're assuming that at the level of government, in Washington D.C., no one came up with, why don't we just sit down at the table and talk about this? You don't think that already was discussed? You don't think they already thought about this most simplest solution?
No.
You don't think the United States is that intelligent to think of the thought you just had?
No, because they don't want to. You know how much money
Okay, well, I disagree.
you know how much money the WIC is making right now?
How much?
Billions.
Okay, but listen.
Replace not only sending ordnance to Ukraine, but also replacing the ordnance for our own weaponry, for our
Right.
own defense.
Right, but you're getting a little off topic, right? My thing was, what would be the appropriate response for the United States and all those other countries that are a part of NATO to do when Russia aggression, all right, is the real issue? They tried to sit down and talk about it, right? They did. Obviously, that didn't work. Putin decided, you know what? He's going to annex Crimea, right? Remember all of this? These are things he's been doing since he's been in power. He's never been held accountable for any of the stuff that he's been doing. And eventually, things are going to escalate, right? And so when you start talking about why do we have to send the aid there, the simple answer is, well, we have to check Russian aggression, number one. Number one, you do agree with that, right? And it's
Yeah, I
not
understand.
and
Every
it's
country needs to be checked, Zeus.
Okay,
Every
so then the
country
next
needs to be
question
checked.
is, the next argument is, what do you think should have been done with that money that you're complaining about that's being used in Ukraine? What should have been done with that money?
Humanitarian aid instead.
I knew you were going to say that. And when has the United States ever done that for us Americans? For instance, do you believe black folks should get reparations?
Reparations? I don't
Yeah.
know, man.
No, 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 no,
I
no, no,
mean,
no.
the idea of reparations. I mean, it's a great idea. I understand, but I
No,
mean,
no,
who?
no. But that would be a form of aid, right? A little humanitarian at that, right? You don't believe that that should have already been happening to the to.
It that should have happened 100 years ago, Zeus.
Okay, okay, okay. And have they ever done it?
No.
So what does that tell you?
It tells me that the United States government does not have the United States citizens' best interest at hand.
So okay. That's your opinion, all right? What it tells you is your
That's my
desire.
opinion.
Yeah, yeah,
But
yeah.
that's what we just discussed.
No, but
Can you
what it
not
tells
tell me
you,
that though?
what it tells you is you're living in fantasy land.
No.
Yeah, because that's not how it works. All right? You get where
How
I'm going
doesn't
with
it?
this?
Yeah, I understand where you're going with
You
this.
you have to live up to the promises that you make with your allies. That's how this works.
understand
Unfortunately,
that.
okay, and so with that being said, then you understand why we're supporting Ukraine.
I understand why we're sending
Okay,
support to Ukraine.
you do. And you agree you would be doing the exact same thing.
Not ordnance.
What do you mean not ordinance?
Not weapons. Why am I going to send weapons to Ukraine's?
Well, how are you gonna push back against Russia?
I mean, like, you know,
You're gonna take them out and have coffee
why
and
can't
tea?
Ukraine?
Huh? They're
Why
already
can't
in doing it.
Ukraine?
They're already doing that.
I mean, so
It just seems to me. I'm gonna be honest with you, Texas. I'm gonna be
go
honest.
ahead, Zeus.
Have you ever worked with the government, the United States government, at all in your life?
No, I mean, like,
What to what extent have you actually engaged the United States government outside of just being a normal citizen?
I don't work for the government.
I mean, but have you ever had to engage them in any capacity?
I mean, so like both of my granddaddies served in the military, my stepdad served in the military, and I lived on base. I was lived on fort during Desert Storm.
Okay. Okay. So you don't really know how things in government work, right?
What are you talking about? Like the three branches of government and all of that?
Well, I mean, that's true. You know, I'm assuming you know those three branches, correct?
Yeah, the judicial and then executive and I can't recall the third one right now.
It's okay. It's okay. I get it.
Legislative.
Okay, I get it. I
Legislative.
get it. Okay, but okay. So whenever you're engaging the United States government, you know, there's this thing, right? As much as you want to do whatever you want to do, you got to follow the rules that are already out there and in place. And if you want to actually make change, you got to actually work with everyone involved in order to actually do it. Something like
Sure.
that, right? Right?
100%.
Okay, so when I asked you as the commander in chief, if you were to be the commander in chief, would you do what policy says you are required to do in that position? The correct answer should be yes.
Why? The correct policy, the correct policy
That's your
that we have
job.
right
That's
now
why.
is
That's why people voted for you.
Zeus.
You
The
get what I'm
policies,
saying?
the policies that we hold in our system right now are the same policies that people are calling systematic racism.
Okay, but
So,
how do you
so why do
change?
we need to? So
Okay,
that's why we need to change that, Zeus,
I get
because
that.
it's broken.
I get that. And how do you change policy? Can the president just wake up one day and say, you know what? I know the Constitution says that, but I'm going to do what I want to do. Does the president have such power?
So the Constitution is what is the systematic racism. It's not the policies that the government has.
The policies the government has are kind of embedded within the Constitution, if you could think of it that way, right?
No, the
So,
Constitution
so,
has
so,
been stretched.
but you didn't just stretch it with your imagination, if you want to use that term.
Sure.
It's been amended. There's precedents and things like that, right?
Yes,
So
sir.
what that does is it stops you, if you were to be in government, maybe even not the president, but let's just say you had a regular government job. It stops you from being able to just decide, you know what, I'm going to do what I want to do.
Sure.
Okay, so those are like the guardrails. So I ask you, if you were the president, meaning you were a government employee, would you do what the law says you should do, or would you violate the Constitution? Which one would you do?
I would follow the law while
Thank you.
also proactively trying to right the ship
Yeah,
in
yeah,
the direction
and
that it needs to go.
that's what Biden is doing. So this is why I'm having this conversation with you. This is what Biden is doing. Unfortunately, sometimes the law that or the rules that he has to follow, they don't sit too well with the American people. But if you want to make them change, you actually got to go through the process of getting it changed, right? Whether it's usually the legislative process, there's the executive branch. They can, do executive orders and things like that. But you just can't go rogue.
No, I understand that.
So now that we've understood that and unpacked that, you understand why Biden is supporting Ukraine now. That's
Yeah,
his job.
I totally understand why the
Okay.
United States is sending support to Ukraine.
Okay, so what's the issue with Biden then if he's doing his job? Because this is the thing, right? I talked to all of these Trump supporters out here, and they get mad that Biden does his job, right? The bridge in Maryland, it collapsed. We're going to make sure that bridge gets repaired as fast as possible. We're going to use the government's resources to get that done. What's
But
the
why?
problem with that?
Because the government, the Zeus. Okay,
I
let's
just
say,
asked you,
let's
would
say
you
that
do your
and
job?
let's say that you and I get into an accident. You and I get into a car accident. I rear end you, and it's my fault. I'm supposed to carry auto insurance so that you don't have to pay for those repairs up front.
I get it. I get
So
it.
so then therefore that shipping company should have insurance.
Okay, but
And that shipping company's insurance should have to pay for that. And the American taxpayer should not have to make that payment.
All right, here's the thing, all right? So you're talking about something that happens between two private individuals, right?
Or two corporations.
No.
Let's say
No.
that I'm a
But-
McDonald's person,
okay,
and
but
you're a Burger King
okay.
person, and I hit you in
Texas.
traffic
Texas.
while I'm under
Texas.
Go ahead,
Again,
Zeus. Go
I
ahead.
asked
Zeus.
you earlier, do you understand how the United States government works?
Yep.
I'm not talking about what happened when you and Joe Schmo have a little hit and run out there. That's to me that's doing a huge disservice to what the United States of America's government is here for. You get this, right? Wait,
Who paid
listen,
for Deepwater Horizon? The
Texas,
United States government or
Texas,
BP?
Texas. I want to get back to the bridge thing. All right. That is federal government property. That's federal government territory. Bridges, how they're built and stuff. That's not something you and I can say, let's go put a bridge there and we don't got to coordinate with the Department of Transportation or anything like that. You get this, right?
Yeah.
There is a lot of red tape requirements that need to be met in order for you to just start putting highways all across this country, highways and bridges. So why wouldn't the president of the United States be involved in this? It's part of his job. This is an offender bender. This is the issue. This is the issue I'm having with you, Texas. And then I gotta move it on. All right, I seriously am.
Go ahead.
I don't understand. How come you don't know how the federal government works?
I understand how the government works.
No,
it's slow.
No.
It's full of red tape, and it's intentional.
Okay. Now listen. I'm gonna move it on. All right.
When was the last time the American government did anything for the people?
Every day, you knucklehead.
Wrong.
Serious. Do you drive? Oh, he left. Texas. Ladies and gentlemen, let's give East Texas a round of boos and shame. Every day, Texas. All right, Texas. You might learn something today. Good morning, April.
Oh, I hope he's still in here. Oh, please, please.
He's still
It was killing me, Zeus. So this guy, I'm so tired of these Putin sympathizers, these Trump supporters saying that Trump wouldn't have sent money, wouldn't have done this. Well, the big problem is that Trump, his first impeachment was because they allocated $381 million to go to Ukraine. And then
Right.
that's when Trump tried to get him to do a dirty deed for him and meet Giuliani. And
Mm.
then he released the money. So, yeah, Trump sent money to Ukraine, which Obama did, George W. Bush did. Everyone has helped Ukraine. And one other thing, East Texas, and I'd love for you to follow me and come into my live. I may be talking about this because I had to get on to Tucker Carlson this morning in a video.
Oh,
Him
wow.
stating, yeah, he didn't know why we were in Ukraine. We made an agreement in 1994, an agreement of four parties:
Mm.
Russia, America, North Ireland, and Great Britain. We made an agreement
There
with
you
them
go.
that if they got rid of their nuclear weapons, because right then, after the Soviet disbanded, they were like the third leading uh, people with nukes.
Yeah.
And we had to protect the world. I mean, this is what we done. So they got rid of all their nuclear capabilities now, and Russia agreed that anytime if America invaded Ukraine or if Russia invaded Ukraine, that they would be protected.
Right.
Bottom line, that's all it is. I'm so tired of the misinformation, and it's crazy. These Putin love. I've never seen so much love for Putin and Russia and all this crap that comes out of this MAGA group. It
Yeah.
is ridiculous.
Well, what I'm gathering is Texas doesn't understand how the government works, right? Because when I kept getting to the point where I would say, "Well, would you do your job?" You know, he couldn't really give me a clear answer, which is to your point, April. He doesn't understand that these agreements that we've had with these nations, right? These are things that require us to do our job. You just can't renege and say, "You know what? I don't feel like doing it."
How can we maintain being one of the greatest powers in the world if we back out on saying that we will protect you if you get rid of shit that's going? I'm sorry, if we get rid of stuff that's going to it can cause deterrent for the whole world. If we go into an agreement and we don't stick up to that agreement, Russia's the one that went out of the agreement
Yeah.
because they signed that they would protect Ukraine. But what did they do?
They
Their
violated the
butt marched
terms.
right in there. That's it.
They
So,
violated the
so
terms, and now you got what you got.
and we ain't got boots on the ground. That's what people don't understand. We are sending old equipment, which we're making money off of, but
Yep.
it's the whole Trump never does anything. The same as Israel.
Mm.
He's the one instead of 3.7 no, 3.2 billion dollars a year we sent Ukraine. I mean Israel. Trump said, "Oh no, I think we need to raise that up another
Mm.
500 million a
Mm.
year." So
Mm.
so they it's ridiculous. They think, "Oh, Trump didn't do any of this." It was all allocated.
Yeah.
How our government works, Congress does this, the president signs it off. Bottom line,
Bingo.
East Tex, if you're in here, you're welcome to come to my live, and we'll show you the proof of all this. And you just don't have to go by what I'm saying. Please look it up.
Yep.
And
Go to
that's it.
April's live, East Texas. I mean, I really you were very civil, all right. So I had the conversation, right. But what I gathered from that conversation, it was very disturbing to me, East Texas, because you pretty much are saying you wouldn't do your job. You would do what you felt was the right thing to do, which is basically saying you would rather be a dictator,
Yeah,
right?
that's what he
Right?
said. That's
Yeah.
what he said.
Yeah. You don't understand how the government works. You kind of know the three branches, but you don't know exactly what their role is, and you're struggling to kind of understand just how important each one of those roles are in terms of helping the American people.
And it's so harmful. These people like Tucker Carlson, Charlie Kirk, all these people, simping for Russia and
Yes.
turning them into an ally of ours.
Tell them, April.
It's ridiculous, Zeus. I
Tell
don't
them.
understand. Just because Trump is all buddy buddy and got his head up Putin's butt, I don't get it, people. They have
Because,
never been our ally.
exactly. He's playing on their ignorance. I get it.
Yeah, I'm sorry. It was just irking me because I heard that guy and I was like,
Yeah.
man.
Yeah, no. This is why I don't mind having them come up here and reveal themselves. All right. I seriously think it's important that other people hear these perspectives and we unpack them. All right. And so thank you, April, as always, for doing such an excellent job. All right. I really do
Thank
appreciate
you,
it.
Zeus. I'm
Uh,
sorry I was all like hyper, but it was killing me.
no, you're
You have
fine.
a great day.
All right, ladies and gentlemen. Let's give it up to the beautiful April. No lies detected. East Texas. Listen, this is free education for you, East Texas. I really should just force you to subscribe. You should be subscribing. Listen up, Mac. You should be subscribing to all of the Democrat content creators because we go above and beyond to deliver the truth to you. East Texas. April, they're asking when is your live in the audience. We go above and beyond to deliver this truth, all right? All right, and this is serious business out here, all right? Let's bring up my next panelist. I know Shay has to go to work. All right. Good morning, Shay. How are you doing?
Oh, good morning, Kingdom. How are you?
We're all right. We're all right. 3 p.m.
Good. Yeah, Lee, I haven't seen you in a long time. I used to debate. His name is Lee, Texas.
East Texas. His name is Lee. Got it.
Yep, used to debate with him all the time. I haven't seen him in forever. Good to see you again. He is a very, very nice guy. But
he was nice, right?
No, he is. He's very nice. He would never say a crossword. He'll actually debate with you. He'll actually talk to you. But just sadly, he doesn't understand anything.
All right, Takesha.
Very poor community in East Texas, and I went to school up there, so I know where Lee's from. And it is that he's just a culture of his environment, and that's where we are. But yeah, very, very sweet guy. He really is. But
yeah,
very lost in understanding. So when we think about not only the Ukraine situation, we have to give them military weapons because they don't produce them. You know, that's the thing. Not enough to fight off Russia, right? One of the largest armies, right? So yeah, that's our duty, and it's not just the United States. I mean, we're talking all the NATO countries are helping.
Right.
They have sent, between France and Britain, and many of them have sent over $90 billion towards the Ukrainian effort. This is a world effort to stop the aggression of Vladimir Putin. Okay?
Yeah.
And Vladimir Putin does not have the right to tell other countries whether they can join NATO or not.
Carol, thank you for the
And
subscription.
the only reason he doesn't want them in NATO is because he has a nefarious plan of going into these border countries that used to be part of the Soviet Union.
Bingo.
People don't understand. He has said it clearly. Many of his cabinet members have said it clearly. That, in the end, has been his plans all along.
Right.
It's Russia throughout centuries. I'm a world historian here.
Tell him, Shay.
Access to warmer water. Frozen. St. Petersburg is frozen. It was Leningrad, and St. Petersburg again. It's frozen 6 months of the year. Okay, so Moscow's a lot closer to that area versus going over into the Pacific, right? So you need to understand that access to warmer water is everything to them. That's why they play huge roles in the Balkans.
Doozy, she's not lying, Doozy. Sorry, Shay.
Sea. Doozy, don't even start with me. Go get an education first off. Do you even know your ABCs, Doozy? Seriously. Don't mess with me, Doozy.
Ooh, I know it. Doozy, I tried to warn you, Doozy. I did.
Yeah, you're an idiot, Doozy. You're in here every day spewing your stupid nonsense, woman. Get a fucking education. Excuse my French, and it was worth it, and I don't care. Anyway.
Doozy, you're making Shay very upset, Doozy. Come on.
No, absolutely. And then there's a NATO agreement. There's this and that. But it's history of all of this. Everybody understands the history of the Soviet Union, i.e. Russia, i.e. Putin. Because you guys don't understand it. That's your problem. Because you won't take out a textbook and actually read it. Okay?
Yep.
But I'm here to help you understand that is absolutely what's going on. I don't care how Russia feels about NATO countries on his border. Nobody cares about how he feels about that. You don't have the right to tell sovereign nations what they can and cannot do. Period. End of story. Do you think Russia has the right to tell the United States to be part of NATO? No. They don't have the right to tell us anything. So they don't have the right to tell Ukraine what to do. So stop buying into all the lies that there's schmozzies there and all of that. There's schmozzies in the United States. Does that give them the right to attack us because we have schmozzies here?
Nope.
Get
not
out
at all.
And stop buying into the propaganda. I'm so sick of it. I'm up to here with it. So, but yeah, there was so much. But anyway, because of that, and the bridge, Lee, come on, dude.
Right. He doesn't think that we should build the bridge back.
It's an impactful. That is one of our massive ports. You guys complain about cost of your eggs. Can you imagine when that port is not functioning, the amount of the economy that's going to, I mean, give me a break. We have to fix it fast. Will we get the money back after we go through all the red tape of suing the insurance company, the shipping company? Sure. We don't have time to wait years in order to build that. Do you realize that the federal government is also helping businesses that are being affected by the closing down of this bridge?
Yep. They have no problem when Donald Trump was allocating millions of dollars to these businesses during the pandemic. No problem. Go ahead, Trump, do it. But when Biden helps a business or helps build the bridge,
I mean, when catastrophe happens, that is the government's job, Lee, is to help American people.
You hear that, Lee?
So that we all flow and everything keeps building in the right direction. If you owned a business that relied on that bridge, you'd be very grateful to Joe Biden right now.
Yep.
Very grateful. So anyway, all right. I've taken enough time. Learn your history, people. All right. Love you.
Love you. Ladies and gentlemen, let's give it up to the beautiful Shay. Gator Vet, I see you. You've somehow made it back to the kingdom of truth. Ladies and gentlemen, show Gator Vet some love. All right, he came into my live and he says, "You notice there's never anything positive about Biden in these lives, just Trump rhetoric." Gator Vet, we have a lot of great news about President Biden. If you maybe didn't hear my earlier part of the show, perhaps, or maybe you just haven't been listening to my shows as of late, Biden is doing an outstanding job. Have you seen his poll numbers? I hear they're eclipsing Donald Trump's right now. I mean, the economy is back on track. I mean, what should I be in here complaining about President Biden about, Gator Vet? I'm so sorry. Because is there something I need to know about? What we're doing right now is we're showing the American people who Donald Trump really is, all right? Because we understand he's the biggest national security threat to this democracy. He's the most dangerous person in this country right now, out on bond, right, in 4 different venues. He's threatening judges. He's threatening their families. He's terrorizing this country. His supporters are terrorizing this country. And yes, we're going to talk about that, all right? Now, if President Biden is doing anything like that, trust me, he will be right here front and center, and we will be giving it to him. But here's the thing, Gator Vet. President Biden isn't doing any of this stuff. It's little red hands. You know, we call Donald Trump, we call him little red hands because of all the people, all the Americans who have lost their life while Donald Trump was in office, you know, especially during the pandemic. He has red hands because of that, all right? So, Gator Vet, please think before you speak, all right? Let me bring up one of my good friends, all right? ABC, you want to talk to Zeus too, ABC? ABC, you want to talk to Zeus? Send a request, ABC, all right? Good morning, Attacking.
Good morning. Exxon Valdez, 1989. I just looked up 2008 Supreme Court settlement finalized. Deepwater Horizon took about 6 years for the legal system to go through. So you want the insurance companies to pay for this, which is great. But it's going to take multiple years for this to happen. So that means we fix it, the United States, the government, and then through the litigations, which is going to take years upon years for any settlement to happen because they have to go with the people who are unalived and so on.
Yes, you can request ABC. Sorry, Attacking.
That's okay. So understand that. Do you want to wait for the legal system to finalize whatever tally it might be and not rebuild the bridge for, let's say, the next 20 years if it took that long, and then start building the bridge? Or do you want to build the bridge now, get the total amount so you can sue the insurance company and the and the shipping company, and they get reimbursed.
Yeah.
Which one do you want to do?
Right.
I mean, it's kind of like having an accident.
Well, attacking, it's clear that they don't understand how all of this affects them. You know, Shay brought up a good point, right? Their eggs. You know how they love their eggs. Their eggs could go up. The cost of the eggs could go up if this bridge doesn't get repaired
Well,
as
hold
fast as it
on.
needs
Do you
to.
know that they're going to be unaliving about 1 million chickens, or whatever, or whatever? Yeah, I just saw this on the news.
What?
The bird flu again, I guess. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Just saw it on the news within the past 30 minutes.
Wow.
So that means something's going to happen to the cost of our products.
The
But,
products.
you know,
Okay, so is this Biden's fault? Because let's just be honest. Is this President Biden's fault attacking, or whose fault is this?
Well,
Because this is Biden. This is Bidenomics, right?
I hate to say it. There's a videotape of somebody dressed like Biden, but because he had adult diapers on and kind of looked like Trump in a mask, I think he went and spread the virus.
Wow.
Yeah, I think it was Trump.
Oh, so it's not Biden, it's Trump.
No,
if the
it was Trump in a mask.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you for clearing that up.
But anyway,
all right, ABC.
It's kind of like a car accident. You have a car accident. You get your car assessed, and then after that, you have the fee, and you submit it to the insurance companies, and then the insurance companies negotiate and say, "This is what you're going to have to pay us," and so on and so forth.
Yeah,
that's pretty much about it.
Got it.
All right. So everybody be good. Everybody be safe. And Zeus, you're doing a hell of a job. You are the King of Kings, the Men of Men, the God of Gods, and the the most handsome.
Oh,
the most honest.
Thank you.
And the most humble person on this app.
Tell them attacking. Wow.
Yes. And by the way, I'll take that $20 for saying that.
No, it's fine. We never agreed to that attacking. Cut it out.
All right.
Seriously.
I'll take 10. All right. See you guys.
He's not lying, Nutty. Sorry, ladies and gentlemen. I have a friend out here. His name's Nutty Professor. He always gets very insecure about, folks when they reference my handsomeness, those 3 H's, right? Honest, humble, and handsome. This guy, Nutty, he loses it. I mean, unglued, unhinged, deranged, losing it. And I don't get it. He's been around me long enough, and at this point, he should just concede. Nutty, concede, right? Don't do what Donald Trump did, Nutty. I was supposed to. Frankly, I am. Cut it out, Nutty. I know how you get down. Seriously, all right. Speaking of deranged, hello, Nutty. How are you doing? Nutty, are you there?
Wow. So, Ange, I would never be second to anybody. I am never gonna be second.
Anyway. No, actually, I hate to bust your bubble, but that's really the only option for you.
Yeah, whatever, dude. So I there's an article that I want to tell Mr. Lee to go out. It's on a website called Responsible Statecraft. Okay, it's a article. I'm tired of hearing that Trump had no wars. That Trump, that's the first thing that these MAGA demons they tell you. He had no wars. Well, guess what? Biden doesn't have any wars either.
No.
Tell me where the United States is fighting a war. In fact, it was this administration that ended the nation's longest war in history,
which is the Afghanistan war.
So, with that being said, let's tell the truth about Donald Trump. Donald Trump, he escalated our drone attacks when he was in the White House.
What?
So what are y'all talking about? He had a peaceful administration. The devil is a lie.
Right.
Furthermore, when he ordered the attack on General Qasem Soleimani,
I remember it.
That was an illegal attack.
Wow.
That brought us to the brink of war with Iran.
Wow.
If it wasn't for the diplomats that we had working for us, we would have been in a World War III.
Wow.
Y'all seem to forget that because Mr. Tiny Hands got on television and he was showing you his tiny hands and he was saying, this is the greatest. This is the greatest. Trying to equate it to when President Barack Hussein Obama got Saddam Hussein.
Right.
There's a difference. There is a difference, right? So, but anyway, that Lee kind of just threw me off my game.
No, but Lee, I got to give it to him, right?
Listen, that's a MAGA demon we can have a conversation with.
Yeah, that's a MAGA demon we can have a conversation with.
Absolutely.
He wasn't too radicalized. I can tell you, I don't think Lee went to the Capitol on January 6th.
No, absolutely. And Lee's mind can be changed. He just needs the education. He just needs to be in this live more. He needs to go to April Live more. He needs to go to Straight Facts Lives more. He needs to go to Facts Matters Live more.
Amen.
And the bridge, Lee, that you were referring to that Zeus asked you about, do you know we're losing $2 billion a day?
Wow. Lee.
$2 billion.
How does that impact Lee's bottom line? Because Lee, he operates a household, I would imagine, and every month they go through expenses and whatnot. So he has a bottom line that he has to try to.
Well, it's going to affect his bottom line because that means prices increase on goods and services because that port is not in play.
Tell him that.
Because the expenses are going to raise of goods that are shipped in that the average American consumer consumes. You don't see how that works, Lee, do you?
Right.
So it does affect us, and it does affect the people in Baltimore.
Stingray, send a request.
So very quickly, you in your monologue, you talk about the MAGA demon that was arrested in Ohio, and that he didn't participate by identifying himself in court.
Yeah.
I just got a message for bruh.
Talk to him.
They're not gonna let you out of jail just because you identify yourself. In fact,
my God,
you're gonna stay there even longer. So you might want to try to cooperate so you can get some sort of bail.
Yeah.
You might want to try to cooperate. And before I go, I just want to tell everyone to remember the legacy and the life of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.
Yep.
56 years ago today, he was assassinated in Memphis, Tennessee.
Okay. Oh my God.
We will never forget the work that he did and for what he stood for. He stood for humanity. He stood for equality. And I'm really going to trigger him, Zeus.
Talk to him.
Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. stood for DEI, diversity, equity, and inclusion.
Let's go. Thank you, my good friend Nutty, for once again reminding MAGA the truth, sharing the truth about American history. This is history they don't want to acknowledge because their only history seems to be tied to whatever Donald Trump says, and that changes like the weather, right? All right, let's move it along. All right, let's move it along. All right. All right. Someone says I need to invite ABC. All right. Okay, ABC, I have sent you a guest request. I don't know why you didn't send Zeus a guest request. All right. Good morning, ABC. How are you doing?
I'm good. I'm just testing to make sure my microphone's working, and it looks like it is. So I'm going to be quick because I really appreciate your show.
Oh, okay. I didn't know what side of the aisle you were on. So
No, I'm definitely on the left side here.
Okay.
I could go through a bunch of books, but I think one that people need to read a bunch of right now is called Accidental Empire. It's a newer book that's out there. It talks about how the sun never sets on the U.S. empire. And I kind of want to bring us back to 1938, 1930s, 1940s, when America First, the same movement that's selling the BS right now. You have to remember that, the United States was not at war per se, but it was sticking its head in the sand as you had the Axis powers. And for those of you that don't know the Axis powers, we're talking Germany, Japan, and in Italy. And each one of them was in a different region. Germany was in Franco with Spain, and they were fighting and testing their weapons in Spain. You had the Japanese were in Indochina and actually all throughout China and Korea doing horrific things, genocides, things you can't even begin to comprehend.
Right.
And then you also had the Italians were in Ethiopia testing all their weapons and doing all this stuff. Well, we have, because of this America First BS, which is from Stephen Miller, who's, if you don't know who Stephen Miller is, he's a disgusting human being.
Nasty individual.
Nasty individual. He's saying the exact same things. wants us isolationist. And look what's going on. You have Putin, who has invaded Ukraine, and you have Gaza and Hamas, and you have that whole scenario with Iran, and then also too you have the Chinese and Taiwan, and you basically have an access. You have the same things put forth as an authoritarian, because remember, this is a war against democracy with a small d. These are authoritarian regimes, whether it's Hungary, whether it's Turkey, whether it's Erdogan, they're against democracy. And it's the exact same scenario that's laid out as we had in 1930s. And so we have to be very, very cognizant and careful that there's a parallel that's going on, that there were 1940, in 9 months, you had 40,000 innocent civilians were unalived in London by the fascists.
Wow.
You have the exact, it was 40,000 civilians in 9 months. We have the same thing going on in Gaza right now. I'm going to land my plane right there, but I'm glad to be on your show.
Thank you.
If anything else I could show out there, give me a shout.
Well, I want to ask you a couple of questions, right? So
Sure.
you laid it out very plainly, just about how serious of a situation we're currently in right now, right? Pretty much the same playbook that was ran back, like you said, in the 1930s. Vladimir Putin has taken some pages out of it, correct?
Oh, most definitely.
So my question is, why do you think MAGA is having a hard? Because I wouldn't say all Republicans, right? I will say MAGA. Why do you think they're having a hard time processing that reality?
Because they've pivoted towards it's all a perspective and a view. They're not recognizing, they want to only be thinking, quote unquote, America first, but they're not recognizing that this is a global economy, and our American values and everything that we've done is based off of having journalism. That's why it's the First Amendment. And so we're influenced. If you're going to take over a country, and if you're going to, if you're doing a coup, what's the first thing you do? You go and you take over the media. You take over the journalists. You imprison them. And that's basically the playbook of fascism.
Yeah.
And then you don't have the 90-year-old veterans. The last survivor of the Arizona, which was Pearl Harbor,
he passed away, right?
He passed away. He was 101 years old. We don't have these voices here to remind them, going, "Hey guys, remember the media is not your enemy. We are the media. We get the government we deserve." My big thing that I'm advocating for is people don't recognize what's called an OIG, an Office of Inspector General. It saves you money. Well, guess what? That's journalism, and we need to make sure that we have property taxes, and everything's got to come up from the bottom up. If you want a third party, that's great, but it has to come locally first.
Yeah.
The first thing you need to do is you need to go into the public schools, and you need to maybe pay for journalism professors to be teaching these kids what journalism is and how it works, and maybe use your local, and have these kids covering your local journal, your local elections, your local policies. That's the most important thing. So I'll land my plane there again, but keep asking if you want.
All right, no. I'm going to move it on, but I gave you a follow, my good friend. All right.
Man, thank you very much. I'll talk to you soon.
All right.
Thanks, man.
All right. Hopefully you'll come back tomorrow. Same Zeus time, same Zeus channel. All right.
Thank you, man. It's great.
All right.
Show.
All right. ABC Me, ladies and gentlemen, let's give him a round of applause. No lies detected. I did not ask him the questions I normally ask, because I could tell right away he wasn't a MAGA demon. He didn't have it. All right. But plus I'm on a little bit of a tight schedule today, ladies and gentlemen. All right. We'll bring up a couple of more, and then I'm out of here. All right, Big Nick from South Florida. Good morning. How are you doing?
Big Zeus.
Greetings. How are you doing?
I'm doing absolutely wonderful, my brother. First of all, let me say it's a pleasure and it's an honor to be on somewhere for someone who looked like me, to tell the masses that we're not all football players and entertainers.
Yes,
that we do have a different intellectual side to us. So I really appreciate you.
Fair enough. So I'm assuming you're not a Trump supporter, right?
I'm to the left of Bernie Sanders, sir.
Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go.
The reason I want to jump into the box is because about 10 minutes ago, a guy said, why don't we spend too much time talking about Trump, why don't we ever talk about Biden's accomplishments, indicating that Biden hasn't had any accomplishments. I'd just like to say to you, sir, every time we bring up the Build Back Better, every time we bring up the American Rescue Plan, every time we bring up infrastructure, every time we bring up the Chips and Science Act, every time we bring up the PACT Act, the Insulin Reduction Act, every time we bring up student loan forgiveness, y'all brush it to the side like it don't exist.
Get them!
So it's a little disingenuous for you to say that we don't talk about Biden's accomplishments when you kick him to the side, when you don't give him any credit, when you say, yeah, you listen to CNN, that's what CNN is telling you. I mean, I just don't get it. What do you want us to tell you about Biden that you would not throw to the side?
Right? They don't have anything they can really complain about, honestly, when they're talking about Biden. They have nothing. They literally make up stuff. They literally have to make up stuff to cry about when they're talking about Biden. You heard us talking about the bridge, right?
Yes.
You're doing your job, helping to keep America America, and they somehow found the space to cry about it. I've never seen anything like this in my life outside of MAGA.
It's because the only time they ever heard of the word infrastructure, only time they ever heard of infrastructure is when they're still waiting on Trump's infrastructure that'll be here any day now. Any day now, Trump will release his infrastructure plan. You know, I'm patiently waiting. I have faith, you know, that we're going to get it one day eventually.
Yeah.
You know, but and I understand the bridge is so important to our infrastructure, it's so important to our economy. But over the last couple of days, I've been noticing that Stephen Miller and the rest of the guys have been pushing to abolish the 22nd Amendment.
Oh.
Yes, the 22nd Amendment is which limits the terms the presidents can serve.
I've
All
heard
of a
about
sudden
this.
Now they want to talk about abolishing the 22nd Amendment. So you talk about they want to jail our journalists, right? They want to limit the speech of our journalists. And now they want to extend the terms of the presidency. If that isn't a pre-ledger to dictatorship,
yeah,
all these alpha men want to be led for some reason. I've never seen that before in my life where an alpha male want to be led.
They don't know they're telling on themselves every time they open their mouth. They don't get it, right?
Every single time.
Yeah.
Every single time, you know, and I'm too much of a friendly, so I know you're looking for somebody who you can possibly get to just realize the BS that they're being fed. So I'm going to drop back down and I'm going to continue to listen. Can you do me a favor? Can you drop me down, because for some reason when I drop, I get out of the whole live and I don't.
Yeah, no problem, ladies and gentlemen.
I sent you a follow too, my brother.
I gave you one too. All right, I gave you one too, ladies and gentlemen. Let's give Big Nick from South Florida a round of applause. No.
Thank you, my brother.
Thank you too. No lies detected. All right. Let's see, ladies and gentlemen. All right, well, listen. That concludes this special broadcast. I know I got to get up out of here, but listen, ladies and gentlemen, one heck of a show. You all deserve a round of applause. Seriously. All right, so listen up. Thank you to all of the gifters, all right? You all send gifts throughout the show. I don't get to always say thank you, so that's why I do it towards the end, right? Thank you to all the gifters, to all of the subscribers, to all of my moderators, and to all of the panelists. Truly, you've made this show quite an exciting show. You help to keep it educational, entertaining, and exciting, right? You do. Engaging. All right, yes. All right. But you know what we got to do? We need to get one more round of booze and shame. All right. And you know who this goes out to. To all of the Zeus haters who I believe you got my account taken down, my main account taken down yesterday because you didn't like the truth that I'm sharing on this platform. All right. These are some Zeus haters. These are our critics. These are our detractors. These are some liars. These are some seditionists, treasonous traitors who choose to continue to put Donald Trump above the United States Constitution and peddle lies and misinformation and disinformation on behalf of Vladimir Putin and the Kremlin. Join me in giving them our final round of booze and shame.
Silence! You never demon!
On that note, take care, ladies and gentlemen. Stay safe out there in those TikTok streets and don't do nothing I wouldn't do, all right?
Most handsome in the kingdom.
And I really am the most handsome. Take care! Homer, see ya! Brown eyes, thank you. Bye,
This is how I move when I'm walking like Zeus. This is how I sound.
Thank you,
This is how I stand when I'm looking like Zeus.
I like to act a fool when I'm moving like Zeus.
Don't be playing with my
Jeffrey! Brown eyes, like I said, all right, I gave you the follow. Let's go, let's go. Make it fun. Thank you, Tiffany. Oh my God. I'm a god, call me Zeus.
I'm flyer than an eagle and got bread on me too.
Took a long time to get here and I'm feeling brand new.
If you living like a bum,
Snuggles, repent.
fool, I got money.
Hey, Tiffany. Let's go. Hey, Garvey. Thank you. Mix all in the mix. I put a bounty on your head.
This is way above.
Hey, I appreciate all you do. And as well, Mr. Johnny Stern, Mr. Silk. Hey, Slick is Rick. Linda, thank you. Thank you. All right, Lady Rima, Zena, I'm glad you made it. I know you said you were going to be here at the show today. Sorry I'm not on my main though, right? Off limits. See ya. All right, Laura, Brown Eyes, thank you so much for the roses. TJ Mars, thank you so much.
This is how I sound when I'm talking like Zeus. This is how I stare when I'm looking like Zeus.
Thank you, Ann, Miss B, thank you. Mayday, Lady Justice, Lady Rima, Jeffrey Johnson, great show. Reagan Republicans, I see it, champ. Tiffany for the people.
I'm hotter than Hades and I'm burning down.
Hey, Zena Smith.
I'm living proof.
I've been waiting for this moment now. This boss Steve and my partner in crime.
Then you guaranteed to lose.
Straight facts. Shout out to you, gang. I know you're somewhere in here, hopefully. Mystica, thank you so much. Thank you, Mrs. Silk. I love you. Let's go.
Time to let loose with the truth. Yeah, grab your goose.
We don't take any prisoners. Nope. They're lucky. Listen, they're lucky I had to be nice today, seriously. They got me on a good day.
Try to be patient, but you had to like
grab your goose. Exactly. DJ Kitty Cat Smart. All right. All right, Blue Bell. Thank you so much. Please. Where you at, Reggie? Two Waves, yes. Sticky Beat. There you go. I knew you were in here somewhere. Unlock that. Let's go, Valerie. I see you. Thank you. All right.
In the sky like Giraffe, like Zeus. I make my own rules. I'm a god.
There we go.
I just want to buy 11,700
David Gray. Let's go.
votes. One more.
Uh-oh, that's when he broke the law. All right. Reggie, where you at, Reggie? You know we got to hit him with the Jack Smith remix. You too, Tiffany. Let's go.
He's deranged. Jack Smith. He's deranged. Jack Smith. He's deranged. Jack Smith. He's deranged.
Thank you, Evan.
Jack Smith. He's deranged. Jack Smith. He's deranged.
Hey.
Jack Smith.
It's me.
He's deranged.
It's Zeus.
Jack Smith.
Hey.
Donald Trump is indicted and they take one charge and they turn it into 36 charges.
Oh, yes.
And he's a big Trump hater. Openly, he's a Trump hater. And his wife.
You know what?
Even more
You know what we got to do? Thank God Jack Smith is handing it to Aileen Cannon, right? She's trying to help Donald Trump avoid justice, but we got folks like Jack Smith on the case, right? Let's go ahead and give Jack Smith a round of applause, ladies and gentlemen.
Jack Smith. He's a Trump hater. His wife's a Trump hater. His family's a Trump hater. They all hate Trump. They hate him with a passion. They'll do anything they can. And he's a big Trump hater. He's a harasser and an abuser. And he's a big Trump hater.
Hear that, Snuggles?
And he's a big Trump hater. 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 Openly, he's a Trump hater. He's a Trump hater. His wife's a Trump hater. His family's a Trump hater. They all hate Trump. They hate him with a passion. They'll do anything they can.
Hey! Get him,